Hi, this video is about statement of purposes. Now, before we get on to creating the best statement of purpose that will get you into your dream university, it is very important to understand what a statement of purpose is. What is a statement of purpose? Quite simply put, a statement of purpose is a letter that you write to the university stating your credential, your dreams, and why you are perfect for that university and why that university is perfect for you. So quite simply, a statement of purpose is a story in the form of a letter that you write to the university. Now, before you start to write your statement of purpose, I have a very key advice to give to you. Go and watch Life of Pi. Now, a lot of students ask me why should we watch Life of Pi before we start writing our statement of purpose. Quite simply because Life of Pi is an amazing depiction of a life story in the form of a statement of purpose. When you watch Life of Pi, you'll be able to understand what a statement of purpose is all about. What is the life story that he's trying to sell, and that is what you are going to do. You are going to sell your life story, your dreams and your ambitions to the university, and that is what a statement of purpose is all about. Now, we at Mentored follow a very due diligent process of creating a statement of purpose. It is not a random thing that we ask you what do you want to study and we create a statement of purpose. Why? Because that's something that people do to recycle the SOPs. Last year we had 10 students who went for mechanical engineering. How different would they be? Just recycle it, change the name and stuff like that, because everybody dreams of doing a couple of same things, and you recycle the SOPs. But that is not how you get into the best universities and get scholarships, because the moment they interview you, they are going to know that your ambitions and what you stated on the statement of purpose is totally false. So we don't do that. And how we create the best statement of purpose is we've created a toolkit which you will find in the link to the description below. So as we've already discussed, that it is a story that you're telling in your statement of purpose. Now, when you're trying to tell a story, do you start randomly writing it, or imagine it from the perspective of the person who's going to write it for you, even if it is you, or if you are going to a consultant who's supporting you for writing the statement of purpose? He has to have that information in a very systematic way. Otherwise, he'll not be able to write the best statement of purpose. So this is a toolkit that we have designed. What this does is it systematically asks you the questions for which it needs the answer. And you can use it yourself. We'll be giving out the sample so that you can use it yourself and answer it and probably create your own amazing statement of purpose. But if you come to us, we'll be sitting down with you, discussing each of these questions with you. Now, how does it start? So let's say the first question is, keeping in mind your undergrad specialization, do you have any story to share about your childhood which intrigued you to pursue undergrad in this specific field? And what this question is actually doing is trying to get information as an inspiration. What is it that inspired you to pursue this particular course? Because imagine the person who is going to be reading your statement of purpose is very interested in knowing if you are passionate about what you are planning to do. And if you have been passionate about it, how long have you been passionate about it? Or is there an inspiration behind your attempt to be a software engineer or a doctor, whatever? And if you do have a concrete inspiration, then it sets the tone for the statement of purpose, because then it becomes even more convincing that you are the right person for that course. So answering this question is about presenting an inspiration in front of the reader, and you can get the sample answers with the toolkit. The next question is, what made you decide on studying the subject of your 12th grade course? Please give very specific reasons. Now, why this question is being asked? Because the reader wants to know if the subjects that you have taken in your 12th grade would lead you up to your undergrad course or not, or for that matter, if you are a graduate student for your master's program or not. Why? Because if there is a cohesion, if there is a relationship well established between the fact that you have taken up electives, or your field of study in 12th is in line with the course you intend to study, then it makes much more sense. And there has to be a reason behind it, and this question is all about it. Why did you study XYZ course or XYZ subject in your 11th or 12th? Now you'll observe throughout this toolkit that there is a particular flow to the questions, and imagine that you are a writer. You would want your information to be in this flow, because then you start with your childhood, what inspired you, what subjects you took, what are the challenges that you face. Then it becomes a specific flow, because it is a story, and if the story is boring, nobody will want to read it. Even if you say that I have won this, I have done that, if it is a boring story, nobody would want to read it, because people who are reading are human beings also. The third question then: is there any challenging situation that you've experienced, and how have you tackled it? Now this may be different for each of the students who would be using this toolkit, and the situation does not have to be enormous. It can be a very simple a problem that you faced. Elon Musk always says that the only interview question that he ever asks is, what is the biggest life challenge you have ever faced, and how did you tackle it? Because that shows the temperament of the person. Quite simply, because if you know the answer to that question, you would have done something about that problem. It's not just saying that, oh, I was very poor and that is why I deserve to have a scholarship. If you had a problem, what did you do about it? It shows your character. You have to introspect. Did you do anything about it? You have to learn from your mistakes or learn from the problems you have faced, and that is what the reader wants to understand from this question. And this aspect, so you have to answer this. I mean, you can probably see that the student of ours has written a long answer. It'll come in a 2 lines. It'll come in a way that it has a good transition, shows what the problems you faced and the skills you gained out of it, how you tackled it. So you have to write in a very articulate way, and that is where we particularly at Mentor sit with the student. Even before writing the statement of purpose, this process of answering the questions, because if you are not able to articulate your thoughts properly in these questions, then your statement purpose would not be really efficient. The fourth question is, do you have any noteworthy academic or extracurricular achievements in school, MUNs, NTSC, Olympiads, whatever? Because this then highlights your ability to step out of your own academic zone and do multiple things at a time. And that is very important in any university application, that you are able to highlight that you are more than just your academic scores. Now this question leads up to the previous one in highlighting your extracurricular activities, but this particular question is focused more towards the social side of it. The previous question would have expected you to answer something that relates to sports or something like that, music, sports, something like that. But this question expects you to tell if you have been involved in any social causes, because that shows your social inclination, and that is very important in a statement of purpose. If you have had an exposure towards supporting your community, that is going to be very good for you. Most of the students who work with us for the 2 years program we have in mentoring and profile building go through this entire process of consulting, where we advise them on taking up a variety of things, from sports to blogging to YouTubing to social causes, because then it really makes your profile solid. The sixth question is, have you written any research paper or technical paper or any other publication? For most research oriented or theory based programs, this is a very important question. You don't have to have research papers, but any inclination towards articulating your thoughts in words is going to be good. Even if you've written a blog or you contribute to a community or web pages or whatever, that is going to be good. So when we evaluate a student's profile and we see that his profile or his program in the future is going to be inclined towards theoretical research kind of a thing, we advise them to start early and start developing their own online presence in various communities across the. Now this again is related to a lot of students at a very young age start gaining these technical certifications. If you have one of those, then it is going to be very good, and we advise our students. There are a bunch of free websites which give you courses, and it's always good to have them on your CV and or your SOP also, because then it indicates that you have made that extra effort. The eighth question is, do you want to pursue a master's after your undergrad? If yes, then what focus area and why? Now this again is a very specific question, because that shows your ability to foresee your thoughts and your interests. And the reader would want to know if you intend to do a master's program. Even if you don't, that's not a problem, but the reader should be able to understand what your visions and what your dreams are. In the flow of writing the statement of purpose, you tend to use these as fillers, because then this really helps you to say, okay, fine, I want to pursue a particular XYZ minors or majors at the undergrad you have, because it will help me with the masters that I want. You see how the linkages are formed. So these type of filler questions help the writer to actually link your career ambitions. See, the next question then is discuss your short-term and long-term goals. A very stereotypical question, interview favorite question, but then very important, because you don't have to, if you're able to read the student's answer, you don't have to write it like this. But then the idea is to be able to articulate information and to be clear about what you want from the university, and why the university should have you on board, because your skills, your ideas of the future, both in the short term and long term, have to align. So if you've seen the university shortlisting video that we came out, you should see that, because that is what we are talking about. Your idea of the future and the university's idea of the future have to align. And this particular question, we go into this question after the generic SOP is formed. So here at Mentor, we don't make one statement of purpose, we make statement of purposes for each of the universities our students apply to. Now the above information, questions 1 to 9 are generic. The 10th question delves down, and there's a separate toolkit for it. Why do you want to get into this particular university? And if you've seen our university shortlisting video, we cover all of those topics, whether it's the faculty, whether it's the resources, whether it's the curriculum, whatever. Then those questions start all over again. So yeah. And then whether there is an, like this student of ours was on the editorial board, vice captain of his house, had a bunch of TEDx which were not included in the previous questions. If there is any other information that you would like to highlight, then this is the question for you. Now there is a bunch of other questions that we really consider. They're not part of the main questionnaire, but these are additional questions that when we sit down with the students, we really try to pen down the answers that they gave. These questions are, what are the specific projects? Some of the students we have worked with have worked on amazing projects. Now they are not academic, they are not extracurricular, but they are projects. It can be, creating a art piece or whatever. So that's a project which you would want to, know and highlight it. That's why this question is there for. And at the end of the day, this question, I believe this question is very important. How have these practical experiences or, extracurricular activities, whatever, prepared you for the program you are applying for? The answer to this question has to be, in your SOP, that I have done this, I have done this, I have done this. It's not just, leave it at that. I have done this. Okay, boss, I have done this. No, it's not. It should not be like that. I have done these things, and these things have given me these skills or these values, and I'll bring these skills and values to your program, and these are the things that I am looking to add to them. So it shows that you're not starting from scratch. You know what you're doing, and it's very important to show that. And if you've done any internships or industrial trainings. So this is how, this is a brief questionnaire. Remember, for university specific, let's say if you're applying to Toronto, then if you've seen our university shortlisting video, then we start the entire process again. Why this university? Is it the professors you like? Is it the curriculum you like? Then, for the last 150 words of the statement of purpose, which is university specific, we have a separate questionnaire.